Good morning. Today is Friday, May 29th. I'm Pastor Terry with Tuscola United Methodist Church, and today we are winding up our series on the Ten Commandments by Kevin DeYoung. And we're going to begin this with Exodus 20, verse 17. You shall not covet your neighbor's house. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife or his male or female servant, his ox or donkey, or anything that belongs to your neighbor. I have a couple of other verses today that I want to share before we get started that kind of really speak to us about coveting. The next one comes from Ecclesiastes 5:10. Whoever loves money never has enough. Whoever loves wealth is never satisfied with their income. We talked about that 2 days ago when we spoke about thou shalt not steal. John 6:35. Then Jesus declared, I am the bread of life. Whoever comes to me will never go hungry, and whoever believes in me will never be thirsty. Philippians 11 through 13. I am not saying this because I am in need, for I have learned to be content whatever the circumstances. I know what it is to be in need, and I know what it is to have plenty. I have learned the secret of being content in any and every situation, whether well-fed or hungry, whether living in plenty or in want. I can do all this through him who gives me strength. And finally, 1 Timothy 6:6. But godliness with contentment is great gain. Being a covetous person is being an idolatrous person. When you are coveting something, you are saying, I can't live without this person, without this possession, without this vacation, without this or that or the other. It makes a God out of our desires. A lot of people think that the Ten Commandments sort of build up toward the end. It starts real strong, then we get some middling ones, and then we start building up. You get murder, you get not stealing, and then we end with this one about not coveting. And a lot of people say, well, that's an anticlimactic end to the Ten Commandments. But it's not. It's not. Listen to the progression. Don't murder, don't commit adultery, don't steal, don't lie, and try to be happy with what you have. The command to not covet is actually the practical summation of these 10 commandments. It's the heart level culmination of all of the other commandments that we are given. The Bible says that our problem is not that we desire things, but it's that we desire the wrong things, or we desire good things in the wrong way. Y'all know I'm a huge fan of C.S. Lewis, and he has a great quote on this. He says, the problem is that we desire not that we desire too much, but that we desire too little, like an ignorant child who wants to go on making mud pies in a slum because he cannot imagine what is meant by the offer of a holiday at the sea. We are far too easily pleased. And I think that is true. I think that we look around and we see something shiny and it grabs our attention and we think, I want that. I have to have that. And I'm telling you, I'm not immune from this. Amazon is my evil because it makes getting what I want far too easy, and I struggle with that at times. But when all we want is fleeting worldly pleasures, God doesn't say to us, shame on you for wanting those things. God doesn't mind that we want them, but God says, I can give you something so much better and more lasting than all of the world's trinkets. So if we look, I'm just going to kind of sum up our look at the 10 Commandments over the past 2 weeks. If we look at all of the 10 Commandments, every single one of them is there because God cares about us. In the same way that the rules you make for your children when they're small are rules put in place because you care about them. Don't touch the stove. Don't eat cookies before dinner. We don't hit. We don't say mean things. We're trying to help them grow up to be people that are good quality people that the world can depend on. And that is how we begin these lessons. And I truly believe the Ten Commandments are the preschool version of what we should do in life and what we shouldn't. But just because they're preschool, just because they're elementary, doesn't mean we still don't use them all of our lives. We now just learn more about them. We learn more in detail about them, and we learn why it's important for us to tell the truth, why it's important for us to not covet, why it's important for us to have no other gods before our God. So if we can do this, this is the hinge on which all of the rest of Christianity is based, because it is the hinge that shows us we are capable of so much more than our basic instincts. I hope you've enjoyed this study. I will look for something interesting for us to do next week as well, and I am looking forward to seeing you all again in person. Have a wonderful week, and God bless you all. Bye-bye.